Guys, what's up? So today I want to talk about the common MS symptoms that people may experience and things that have happened to me in the past that correlate to those MS symptoms that I either chose to ignore or people haven't done that deeper investigation. What I want to emphasise is MS is one of those conditions that it's completely individual and everyone experiences things differently. What I experience is going to be completely different to what you experience, to what someone else has experienced. It's so unique to each and every one of us that are going through this. Another thing I want to emphasize is just because I'm saying these symptoms are related to MS, there's other conditions and other things that it could also be related to. So I'm not a healthcare professional. If you're experiencing any of these, especially for a long time, go to your doctor, have a chat with them. It could be something unrelated or it could lead to some diagnosis. Some of the most common MS symptoms are fatigue, coordination balance problems, some memory, slowed thinking, unusual feelings in the skin, so this could be tingling, pins and needles, numbness, and you could also have some visual problems. Now, looking back over maybe the past 4 to 5 years, I can tick a lot of those off the list, which it wasn't until my neurologist started asking me questions that you start connecting the dots of these weren't just all individual cases. This has been happening for a while and I've just brushed some things off or not. It's hard. It's when something happens, you never, especially if it's something that you don't immediately think I need to go to the doctor for this, something that you can live with, you tend to just live with it. And then in the case of relapsing, remitting MS, things tend to get better after a while. So then you put it out your head as if it's never happened, and it isn't until someone starts asking you these questions that you remember these things have actually happened in the past. So relating back to the common symptoms, fatigue, I get tired very easily. I work in an office for 8 hours a day. I'm not physically active during that time, apart from walking to get a cup of tea. I get exhausted. From about 3 p.m, I just want to sleep. And it can almost sometimes come as a bit of distraction, especially staring at a screen as well. It's quite hard to bring that concentration back. So I have been prescribed some medication that I need to pick up for it to hopefully make the fatigue a little less. It'd be good to hear if any of you guys have actually taken medication for fatigue and how it's made you feel. I know it could be a vicious circle of you take this to keep you awake and then you can't get to sleep, but I'm going to keep you guys updated with how that medication goes. I think it's going to be interesting. About 4 years ago, I experienced at the time what I thought was a trapped nerve in probably my hip. What that led to was numbness in my thigh. It gradually became numb. It started out with a probably tingling sensation, and then it gradually became, I don't really have much feeling in my thigh. I did go to my doctor about it. She just done the kind of, I would think, usual test of just seeing the difference between the two legs, and there was a difference, but pretty much told me to come back in a month if things hadn't gotten better. And by that point, it may be a month, 2 months, it was gone. I was back to normal, and you kind of forget that it happened in the first place. When you get that normal feeling back, you're like, oh, okay. Probably in the same year as that happened, I experienced some blurred vision for about a week. Now, it happened at the same time as I had gone off a flight. I'm a bit of an anxious flyer, and I do get quite stressed travelling, which I'm going to have to work on. Keep calm. I remember getting off the airplane and putting my glasses on, and everything was just blurry. Just walking through the airport, everything was, oh, this is really blurry. But I just put it down to maybe a change in the pressure. You're getting off, it was a long haul flight, it was about 11 hours. So I was just putting down to the pressure change, or picking up some germs on the plane that I could eventually maybe get a head cold. And this lasted maybe about a week. I remember it did get to the point that I wouldn't drive that week. I remember my boss asking me if I was going to dancing at the time, and not because I wasn't comfortable driving. But again, it got better itself over maybe the space of a week, and I just put it down to, yeah, I picked something up on the airplane. It was a bit of a head cold. Nothing to worry about. Earlier this year, I experienced, again, what I put down to a pinched nerve. I was doing a lot, I was being quite active, dancing, aerial hip, especially aerial hip, when I was using different muscles and maybe putting pressure on some joints that it just wasn't used to. What threw me a little bit was, I remember one day I was driving and I went to change the gears, and a very odd sensation. It was almost like I couldn't feel my arm. So that was when I actually booked, I don't know why I done this, I booked an appointment with a chiropractor rather than going to my doctor. So I went to the chiropractor, and he pretty much put it down to a pinched nerve. He examined my shoulders, and there was quite a lot of stiffness, and drew the diagram of how the nerve in my shoulder could be affecting the arm, or the nerve, it was a nerve in my neck, I think. So I just accepted that. I maybe went to the chiropractor a couple of times, but I felt that it wasn't helping. It was actually making me feel worse. It was giving me pain in other areas. So I just let it be. I stopped going to the chiropractor, and it took maybe about 2 months, and my shoulder was fine again. Still occasional stiffness, but I've got feeling back in my arm. But because it got better, I just assumed, yeah, pinched nerve, that's the thing. It wasn't until really my most severe symptom was what led to my diagnosis. It was a sudden onset of double vision. I woke up one Monday morning and things were just weird, and then it eventually became everything was completely double. That's what then I went to the opticians, and that's eventually what led to this diagnosis. And again, in the space, this was probably about a month, so this was the one that had actually lasted the longest. It had gotten better. So I understand that when small individual things happen, it's very easy to just think that's nothing, or, oh, it's gotten better. It must have been, you rationalize it in your head. What I would say is, if you experience something that just doesn't seem right, or is completely different from what you normally feel, go to your doctor and explain. Also keep a diary of things that are maybe happening, so that if it ever came to the point of going to see a neurologist, you have a list of different things and when they've happened. It could be very, very useful, whereas I just had to recall things, and that's when you start connecting the dots. So from speaking to my neurologist, he has said that I have had MS for a number of years. So looking back now and connecting the dots of all these individual things that have happened, I do wish that I'd maybe been a bit more proactive and not just brush things off. So I just want to, if you experience anything that doesn't feel right, go to your doctor or just go to a professional who can at least try and help you. They might not necessarily connect the dots, but at least even if these things happen over time, there is a record of these things happening. So I hope this gave some insight on different types of MS symptoms, on what I experienced. It'd be really good to hear what symptoms you had, maybe prior to your diagnosis, or if you're still occasionally getting like the flare up, on what symptoms do you have.